The need and necessity of supplementation. After, a potential health scare a couple of years back, I think was 2016, I had to take my health seriously, and I can see how that has panned out for me in terms of how my brain works, how my body works, and how I physically look compared to some of my peers. I used to live in Asia. That's where I got the health scare. I was injected by some beautiful mosquito who, literally dropped my body into killing itself. Very enjoyable. Different story. But when I came back from Asia after living there for quite some time, I came back to my hometown and saw a lot of people who were in my age group who did not take health that seriously and did now potentially have a different bodily outlook than mine. Not to say that I'm the most healthiest person there is, but I'm trying to be as much as I can. One of the things that I do consistently is take my supplementation. One of the things that people question me for, because I do interact with other people and I go see them and they look at me like, how are you taking that many pills in the morning? I would not say, hey, take that many pills. I would say look for yourself what actually fits within your diet, what actually is necessary for you to achieve the goals and resolutions that you want to have. But think of it as we need to improve our nutrition because our base nutrition is going down. What does that actually mean? So I'm going to give you an example, because this question has been asked to me the last couple of weeks multiple times, where people are asking me, does it make sense to actually eat organic food, or does it make sense to actually take supplementations, and what should I take at a bare minimum? For me, there's a bare minimum that you should be doing just to keep, and then from there on out, you can go further than that. A little background for me: I used to be a farmer. I used to make aquaponic farms. Then I started being hired by supplementation companies. So then I had to use my copywriting skills and my research skills to figure out what do these things actually do. Then, as the human guinea pig, and my partner, who calls herself the human guinea pig, started figuring out, oh, these are supplementations that I potentially should take, put into my daily rhythm, and I saw what the results are. So basically what we have to accept in modern life is we have a organic tomato and a non-organic tomato. And then we have, the last but not least, processed factory food. Yes, my kids eat this. I don't condone it, but I can be a tyrant. They call me a tyrant already. So what's the difference between this and that? It looks exactly the same, right? It is pretty much just a tomato. And the difference between having a organic and a non-organic tomato is the fact that this one has a lot more nutrients, a lot more density, is a lot more healthier for you. Yes, studies can back this up. If you want to, go Google that and figure that out for yourself. And this one is grown on fertilized soil. So you're promoting oil production, but you're also sponsoring oil companies because fertilizer comes from oil. And B, it is potentially sprayed with pesticides. So this is coated with something that is harmful for you. If you live in Europe, for a fun change, go to the supermarket, get yourself a package of lemons or oranges, which are quite readily available year round. But they now, because you live in Europe, they have to list every single ingredient that's on it. So if you would say, hey, I'm going to buy myself a organic tomato, or in this case, an organic orange, it would list as ingredient orange. But if you buy the non-organic variant, it is now colored, sprayed, and it potentially has a carcinogenic on it. So that has to be listed because now it's part of the ingredients. That's to my own extent, I was quite amazed when I saw that I bought a orange. I looked at the ingredients list because somehow that's what I do. And that's where I found a carcinogenic. And if you would consume that skin, you would consume that as well. That's something that you probably don't do. I don't know a lot of people except English people who eat orange skins, but it's something that you can consider when you look at should I buy organic, pay a little bit more, or should I buy the regular one? The big difference between the regular and organic version is that the regular has pesticides, so that might have stuff on it that is not good for you, meaning that you should not eat it because it's deterring bugs, but it also deters actual human beings. And because this plant lives outside in most cases, not in the Netherlands, but in most cases would live outside, it wants to make sure that coating doesn't go off when the first rain comes. So it's also waterproof, basically meaning that you have to wash it with soap to actually get all that stuff out, and then you might not even get everything out. But the big difference is nutritional value. This one, whatever the organic is now, is nutritionally a lot more dense than the other one, meaning you get a lot more nutrients out from it and you get a lot more value, even though you might be paying a little bit more. Secondary, I love promoting hippies and I love promoting good food, which in most cases, organic farms are small, not run by a family. They need the work, but as well, they are visioning a different world, saying less dependency on oil, less dependency on big governments, less dependency on all kinds of cool things. That means that if you sponsor an organic farmer, you're sponsoring somebody's dream, compared to, if you've seen some of these videos about food production, massive production sized scale farms that have nothing to do with food, but only with production of a resource, which in relevancy doesn't have that much nutritional value. So we go to factory made food, similar to you vegans who are currently, for example, trying to eat meat replacements. That's factory made food. That's not food that was grown in a space. What we know from food, an organic tomato, if I leave it out, it will die. It will start rotting, it will start decomposing, it starts becoming something else again. But in factory made food, you want to have a homogenized product. So you want to make sure that every single product is exactly the same. Similar, for example, to like McDonald's or anything. And these things mean that they need to have a steady supply of similar sized, similar, shit coming into their factory so that they can get this similar product quality on the other side. Meaning you're not making nature. Like nature doesn't create a duplicate of anything. Every single thing is a unique little thing. They might have similarities, but every single thing is a unique thing. Meaning if you want to have something that is homogenized and perfect in every shape, way, or form, you're going to factory farm materials and process these through heavy processing and putting them into a packaging for long-term storage, which in some cases might be nice. If there's a typhoon or a disaster coming, it might be nice having some of these foods laying around. But for your day-to-day nutrition, watch out on this. And this includes chips, cookies, whatever that comes in a packaging or is heavily processed. That includes the vegan meat replacement. And what do these food producers know is they know how to hijack your tonsil. They know how to hijack your flavors. So they add in flavor enhancers. They add in the three things that makes food very interesting, meaning fat, sugar, and or salt. So they're either too salty, too sugary, or too fat. And in most cases, they utilize this cheap fat because they want to have a cheap product, meaning that is actually fat that induces inflammation. So if you look back at what your nutritional choices can be, you don't have to use supplementation. I'm going to give you a couple of supplements that are the base that you could be starting with, but you can also think of like, hey, if I upgrade my base nutrition to a much more nutrient dense, much more bioavailable food, organics preferably, then you're going to get a much better quality of life already. We don't need to go wash these too much because there's no pesticides. And an added benefit is if you buy organic produce and there's a little bit of a dirt on it, this case doesn't have it, that dirt actually has probiotics on it. So you can take that specific soil and you put it into your gum or in your gut, and it will actually help you have a healthy gut flora by just eating a little bit of dirt. Which sounds crazy, but that's literally what we've been doing for thousands and thousands of years. Okay, supplementation. I've been going crazy into the biohacker world. I have taken lots of supplementations. I take lots of supplements daily, but these are the minimum that you want to take if you want to have a long and happy, fruitful, healthy life. These are quite commonly deficient in average human beings, depending a little bit on your diet. Obviously, you might have less or more, depending if you eat more fish or if you eat more greens or if you eat organics. But these are the base that you can really implement and add on to your life. So that is vitamin D3. Make sure you take this, especially look at my skin. But if you have any darker tint than what I have, you definitely need to make vitamin D. And the funny thing is, if you're an older gentleman or you are a younger person, you are actually advised to take this, but in between, they don't really give a damn. So do yourself a benefit. It will help you with your growth. It will help you with your brain. It will help you with your immune system. It will help you fight certain diseases, but more importantly, it will make you a little bit happy. You can also sit in the sun, but if you're not in the sun or in a sunny region, that depends. And then if you are in a sunny region, try to take as much as you can, so as bare naked as possible. Did I just tell you to go naked? Yes, go sit in the sun naked, because it actually helps. But, I live in a place where there's limited amount of sun. I have to take vitamin D. And even then, you can still take vitamin D because you can't really overdose on these things. Second up would be fish oil. Actually, same with the processed food. A lot of food that we currently eat is high in omega-6. So we have a little bit of a deficiency into having too much omega-6 and too little omega-3s. Omega-6 actually helps or induces inflammation. Omega-3 helps your brain, helps bring down inflammation. So that's something that you can add in. There's very good krill oils, fish oils that you can actually utilize and put into your daily diet, or eat, omega-3 fatty fishes that you can find in your local area. Next up would be magnesium, one of the building blocks of your body and your bones. Actually, a lot of people are super deficient in this. So you can take Epsom baths, or you can just take supplementation depending on what you actually prefer. Or you even have magnesium skin oils, because your skin can actually take this up. So if you have any, for example, tender joints or any issues that you want to have locally, you can actually apply those and get them in the same benefit, because your skin takes a lot of things. So be aware of what you actually put into your shampoo and your skin lotions and all this stuff, because your skin actually sucks that stuff into it. Next up would be probiotics. The gut, I'm trying to point to now, the gut and the brain have a direct connection. And as what you might have heard from people saying, that they have a form of intuition, the brain gut connection, like if your gut is not working optimally, you're literally losing brain cells. There's brain cells directly inside your gut that, if you improve them, will help your brain actually perform better, but also makes you feel a lot better. Probiotics make sure that you feed the good and happy bacteria more, so that you actually cultivate more good bacteria. So it's literally just feeding the soil of your gut flora with the right material, so that they can flourish and that they don't want to have the bad things. I would definitely advise you to check out the Kurt Gazelle video about this on gut flora, because they already explain it way better than me. But in essence, in a nutshell, it means if you feed it bad crap, it's going to ask for bad crap, because that gut brain connection knows what it wants. So if you feed it bad crap and you feed it bad crap over and over and over and over and over, it's going to ask you, please feed me more of this crap. And you're going to get a feedback loop that's actually going to induce you to potentially eat bad things instead of good things. And if you give the probiotics, you get all the benefits for the immune system, but you also get the benefits that these are now going to ask you to eat more healthy things, which is amazing. Then vitamin C, you can supplement this. You can also just take lemons, orange, limes, depending on what you like. But there's lots of fruit that actually contain lots of vitamin C, including paprika or bell peppers, which is an interesting thing that you can take. Don't believe the hype on goji berries. Yes, they contain a lot of vitamin C. A lot of it will be lost, but they are overpriced if you compare it to lemons or paprikas or bell peppers or whatever you want to call it. Last but not least, it's turmeric, one of my favorite supplements. And why actually this? Because it's a ginger family. It's the orange thing that, you stains your curries, and if you would actually cut it, stains your fingers. This is a magical supplement that really creates a lot of benefit for your body in terms of lowering inflammation, helping your cartilage stay flexible. It helps with your gut bacteria, and it also helps keeping your gut less inflamed, making sure that you get all the nutrients out of the food that you actually eat. And it works a little bit like an anti-inflammatory agent, which you could compare to, let's say, a paracetamol or any of these pills that you can buy for anti-pain. So this is a very effective pain medicine, but also it has a shit ton of benefits for your body and your brain that you just need to take. Last but not least, for vegans or vegetarians who have a diet that is not very rich in meat or animal-based proteins or animal-based products, which I do not mind that you do, but if you eat these, or if you don't choose to eat these things, do choose to take vitamin B complex, because that is very necessary for the building blocks of your brain to actually get that moving. If you want to improve your brain, you can definitely take vitamin B supplements. And if you look at nootropics, usually they have a lot of vitamin B because it just works with the brain. So in a nutshell, that's why you should supplement, that's why you should eat healthy, and that's why you should up your level continually, because when we make our body work better, we are going to be better human beings, better businessmen, better humans inside of the life that we have on this planet Earth. Enjoy. I look forward to seeing you next time.